Hello, I'm Morgan. I'm from Sweden and I'm agender. I'm here to talk a little bit about genders. First, let's go through some genders. Yeah. Cis. Someone who identifies as the gender they were assigned at birth. So their birth certificate matches their identification. Trans, transsexual/transgender. An individual who identifies as a gender other than the one they were assigned at birth to be. They do not match their birth certificate. Intersex. Someone who has ambiguous genitalia that doesn't fit into a strict dichotomy of uterus or testes, often forced into surgery to correct their genitals at a very young age, causing psychological and physical harm later in life. Non-binary, outside of the gender binary of male and female. Genderqueer, outside of the gender binary. Some people do not want to be associated with genderqueer, as queer is technically a slur. Agender, someone who feels gender neutral, or someone who experiences a lack of gender. Bigender, someone who identifies as two separate genders. Trigender, someone who identifies as three separate genders. Genderfluid, a gender that changes or is fluid. Demigirl, identifying partially as a woman, but not wholly. Demiboy, identifying partially as a man, but not wholly. DMAB, designated male at birth. DFIB, designated female at birth. So, I'm here to tell you what it was like growing up without knowing what gender you are. My parents were really cool with me dressing however I wanted. I bought clothes from both the girl side and the boy side, but after a while I realized I didn't know how. I felt like I was supposed to choose a side to go from, and naturally I chose the side I was assigned at birth. So yeah, I sort of tried being a certain gender. After a while I realized I can't do this, and I tried other, but I felt so insecure. I couldn't be at either side without feeling like I didn't belong. I felt like this isn't me. I can't buy these clothes. I can't buy these either. I need some totally different clothes because this just isn't working. It just wasn't anything that felt right. It didn't express me. Or I guess they could express me if I had understood myself. I didn't see myself in the clothes I saw at the store, and it wasn't because I didn't... I don't know. I just didn't feel how the society was telling me how a gender should feel. I didn't fit the male or female description. So after a while of just trying out a bunch of styles, which never ended very well, to be honest, I was very lost, and friends got me clothes sometimes. Like, I got to borrow their clothes and they were like, hey, you should wear this, or I think you would look great in this. And I guess that's what encouraged me to wear clothes, other than just sweatpants and just baggy clothes, I guess. Because showing anything that could reveal, or like show gender, felt so weird. So anyway, in 8th grade, I think, late 8th grade, like, yeah, late. I'm sorry. I had been on Tumblr for a good while, and through the Homestuck fandom, I found a certain kind of group of people, and actually it sort of began before that, because I had a friend who, or I have a friend who is trans, and he would be like, hey, don't you think something like this would fit into you too? Because I can feel like sometimes you're not really what you were assigned. And I would look into it, and I looked a lot into bi-gender because it wasn't a lot of genders I could find. It was trans or bi-gender. Those were really the only ones I could find anywhere on the internet. But then after maybe a year on Tumblr, I found these people, and a certain one, who I will link in the description, they told me, or they wrote on their blog about agender. They told their followers that you can be genderless, and it was like, what? I have never heard of such a thing. And it took me a while, but after a while I was like, shit, this, I can really relate to the things they are telling me, the things they write about their experiences. And that's basically how how I found out about agender, and it was great finding it out. It took a good while before I really dared to choose my own clothes, sort of. I don't really know how to say it, but it took a while. Like, it's almost like it's this year I have finally started to walk into stores and think, hey, I can wear this, and I will still be neutral. I will still be genderless. I don't have to look at clothes and wonder, will I look androgynous? Will I look neutral? I can just go into a clothing store and go, wearing this will make the clothes neutral. The clothes don't make me neutral. I am neutral. I will always be. I always was neutral. And I was always so scared that the clothes I wore would somehow make me look like a certain gender. But I came to realize that I am my gender, and it doesn't matter what I wear. And I want everyone to just know that anyone can be like this. You can be cis and still be dressed in... You can be a cis male and wear a dress and you're like, this is my man dress. But it's also very important to encourage guys to wear women's clothing, because otherwise clothes won't be neutral in the eyes of society. We make society, and if we want change, we need to the awareness. We need to tell our friends. We need to raise our hand when the teacher excludes us, and we have to raise our hand and go, "Hey, you forgot me. You said boys and girls, and I'm not comfortable with that." I mean, you don't have to do it to the point where you get obnoxious, because I know some people who do that, and well, I understand why you would want to just nag it into people's mind, but be patient, okay? People say that, hey, we're so good at change, we aren't conservative at all, but it's hard for people, especially adults, to be like, okay, there is a complete new gender, and sure, I will just roll with it. I mean, some have done that. That has happened to me so many times. There's, oh, okay. What pronouns do you want me to use? Do you have a preferred name? Things like that. And those people are the best. But some people will be like, I don't understand. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I know you want to get angry at them. I really do. I get angry at them all the time. The truth is, sometimes you really just have to be like, you know what, fuck you. I know what I am, and you can't change this. But sometimes you have to be sort of patient. Just, you will notice if they want to learn or if they are just ignorant assholes. And if they want to learn, you have to be patient. And yeah, I feel like it's the same for people who identify as both male and female. I identify as neither. There is no such thing as gender anywhere here. I am just a body. I usually say my gender is Sal, because Sal means seal, and I had this friend who I will also link down below, who was just like, hey Sal! And I was like, okay, hi. And we roll with it, and it's been my nickname for a couple of years now. So I'm like, hey, my gender is Sal. And people will be like, seals can have gender, right? Seals. The Sal means seal, did I say that? Well, anyway, they get really confused and they're like, your gender? Seals? Gender? Huh? So like, it's just much easier than sit there and explain. Like, every time I meet someone new and they're like, hey, I can't really figure out, you know, and I'm like, my gender is Sal, and they're like, okay. And I'm like, research. Google is your best friend, and I will answer your questions, but please, not now. I will not just magically start to explain because you don't know. I feel like I might have said against myself a little bit now, but yeah. So, point of this video is mostly because some friends of mine asked me like, hey, I know you have explained this to me a couple of times, but I still don't really get it. I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about. So, well, the thing is, I'm not sure why you aren't sure what I'm talking about. I mean, if you know you're a gender, and if, say you're a female, say you're a girl, and you know I'm a girl, and you have a friend who is a guy, and you know he's a guy, and he knows he's a guy. And I'm neither. I'm a person. You know I'm a person, but for some reason you just have to set boy or girl on me. And it's actually kind of disturbing. The same thing when I show picture of friends and a friend is like, another friend is like, is that a boy or girl? And I'm like, that's none of your business. I don't even know, or they're neither, or they both. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, they're, you know, their real gender. And I'm like, they don't have a real gender. Stop it. Really. The thing is, I explain it so many times that, hey, this whole gender thing doesn't go with me. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I mean, it's so hard to explain, really, because on one hand I understand that there are so many genders and people just haven't figured it out, but at the same time I'm like, how can you be a gender? What is a gender? How do you identify with something? Well, I'm just here, like, I'm nothing. I'm just a body. I'm just a person. I am Sal. And that is all. Because the thing is, well, I don't really understand what you mean when you say you don't have a gender, but I really don't know how to explain it, make it any simpler. I'm sorry, but this is as simple I can make it. And I know maybe this wasn't very helpful or what people was hoping for to see, but in all honesty, this is what I wanted to say. And maybe I will make another video that is a little bit kinder, a little bit more explainful, and go more into more other genders. If that is something you wish of me, then you can send me a message and ask me to make a video of a certain gender, and I will try to make a good video about it. I will read up on it and try to explain it and ask people for what it was like for them growing up, and what kind of issues they have to face now. But for now, goodbye. I'm Morgan. I'm Sal. And bye.